You are listening to the Cellular Alchemist podcast, and here's your host, Ritu Malhotra.
I asked the cashier at the supermarket for a pen. She fumbled, then turned to a colleague, then apologetically replied, I don't have one, ma'am. And I realized that the pen is disappearing, like so much else, like writing, like putting pen to paper. It's disappearing. And it wasn't so long ago that it was different. Growing up in a school run by Irish nuns is like being monitored by the force of a drill sergeant, if you know what I mean. I have this vivid memory of sitting in class 4 in my English lesson with a female dragon in disguise, which was my teacher, who scrutinized every dot on the line, each comma between the line, and the perfectly crossed T's. Yes, it was regimented, but we learned to write a classical script, and we wrote a lot. We were judged on it, praised for it, scolded about it. And then slowly, unnoticed, we wrote less and less and less. I still have some handwritten letters from my childhood. My parents' airmail letterheads with postage stamps. A long lost era. Back then, we graduated proudly from pencils to fountain pens. And I can still hear my mother frowning. Don't use those ball pens. They'll spoil your handwriting and they'll make you lazy. Actually, fountain pens had another purpose. They forced you to slow down, to think, to glide on the page, not to scratch across the page. There was a kind of rhythm to it. When we wrote notes in diaries and letters, writing was like a mirror of how one felt. But slowly this all changed. We wrote less and less, and we communicated even less. I noticed that I'm always in such a hurry that my writing is more of a scribble now. Like my body no longer connects with what I'm doing. I write functionally most times. My signature, for instance, you know, the teller at the bank said that he couldn't cash my check because my signature had changed. That's when it sank in. I had truly lost something. What was it exactly that had changed? Maybe I had lost the sense of slowly and deliberately using my hand to create something with care. Yes, with care. I can hear my mother clucking her tongue in disapproval. And as a contrast, I can see her own careful handwriting, a perfect script, like so many of us had. That beautiful, flowing, cursive writing, diligently and painstakingly taught by those Irish nuns. With today's scroll and speed, we've got to admit that a long line of something has ended with our generation. An inheritance that has dwindled. How much more have we allowed to slip away? I wouldn't say it feels like failure or shame as much as just witnessing this change and change and more change. And then time just marches on, doesn't it? So until next time.
That was this week's episode for the Cellular Alchemist podcast with spiritual psychologist Ritu Malhotra. Don't forget to follow the podcast and join us next week for yet another episode. Thank you for listening.